here from Oev Shalom, the National Synagogue, located on 16th and Jonquil Street in your nation's capital. This is Rabbi Shmuel Herzfeld, and I am speaking to a man by the name of Jerry Wolman. That's Jerry Wolman. Recently, there was a biography about Jerry Wolman titled The World's Richest Man, and Jerry was kind enough to stop by our sacred studios here at the National Synagogue and give me a personal signed copy of this book along with his partner, Howard Steinhardt, and they're both in the studios today of the National Synagogue. And I say to you, Jerry, the world's richest man, I thought that was Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. Does this book saying that you are the world's richest man?
It's saying, Rabbi, good morning, Rabbi, and it is saying that I am the world's richest man, but not because of money.
Oh, because we were going to show you the sanctuary, ready to name something in memory of people you love, but it's not because of money. So what is it because of?
It's because of my relationship with my family, with friends, and my general relationship with people.
Well, tell us why they chose that title, though. Why did they choose the title?
The writer chose the author who authored the book thought that title was appropriate because of the fact that I have a wonderful relationship with my family and I have a relationship with people.
Right, you're a people person.
I'm a people person, and I prize my relationships with people and with my family much more than my relationship with money.
Okay, now, as you should. Now, Jerry, first, before we get into your story, what's your Hebrew name?
Gershon.
Gershon. Jerry's a religious Jew. He's a wonderful Jew. He's a good man. And we're going to talk a little bit about something which, if you're driving out there, pull over to the side of the road. I don't want you to get hurt when you hear this. And if you're drinking your coffee, put the cup down. I don't want you to burn yourself when you hear this one. Here, this is Redskins territory, but Jerry was the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. And not only that, for all you Capital hockey fans, Jerry was the owner of the Flyers, back when they were a good team, right?
Right.
And the 76ers, back when they were a good team, right?
No, I've never owned the 76ers.
Oh, okay, good, because they stink. They always stunk. So, Jerry, tell us, how did you come to own the Flyers? Did you inherit them?
Well, the Philadelphia Flyers, which is the hockey club, when I owned the Philadelphia Eagles, I always felt that Philadelphia, in order to be a first-class town with all sports events, that a hockey club should be in Philadelphia. And I was approached by a gentleman by the name of Bill Putnam, who was my banker years ago, and he came up with the idea that the league was expanding, and he wanted to know if I was interested in bidding on the hockey. And even though I really, at that time, wasn't a hockey fan, I wanted to bring hockey to Philadelphia, and we were lucky enough we were awarded the franchise.
Well, so how did this get started? How did you get started with a football team with the Eagles? Did you grow up thinking you're going to own a professional football team?
Well, when I was a kid, Rabbi, I used to...
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Shenandoah, Pennsylvania, which is up near Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, up in the coal region.
Is that in Brooklyn?
No, it's not. It's not too far from Brooklyn, but it's not in Brooklyn.
Did you have a bar mitzvah there?
I had a bar mitzvah at the Kaheliath Israel Synagogue.
It's Orthodox?
Very Orthodox. As a matter of fact, it was extremely Orthodox.
Oh, wow. And then from there, there wasn't a Jewish school there, was there?
Yes, they had a Jewish, and they had what we call cheder.
Wow, terrific.
In those years.
And from there...
There was also a mikveh.
A mikveh. And today that synagogue is now a church.
That synagogue was sold for a church.
And Jerry, you and I are going to put some funds together and buy it back so it can come back to its synagogue, right? Synagogue roots. So how did you come from Shenandoah? Were you very wealthy growing up?
No. As a matter of fact, my mother and father had 9 children.
9.
And we were not wealthy at all.
What did your parents do?
My mother was a housewife. My father had a wholesale fruit and produce business.
So he was making tons of money selling fruit.
Well, it was a small town. He never made tons of money, but he worked hard. He was not well educated, but he certainly was smart.
Okay, and then what happened?
Well, eventually I left with a friend, joined the Merchant Marines during the Second World War, And when I came back after the war was over, I came back and I went up to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and I saw this girl at the Jewish Community Center where there was a wedding going on, and I knew right then and there I was going to marry her. And I went over, I asked her to dance, and make a real long story short, Rabbi, we got married. And after a short time in Wilkes-Barre, I had a little fruit stand in the kosher butcher shop. I couldn't make a living, and I came home and I asked my wife, I said, we've got to go somewhere so I can make a good living. And we decided that we would pick up a hitchhiker, and wherever he was going, that's where we would go.
That was your plan, just pick up a hitchhiker.
And in those years, it was permissible to pick up hitchhikers. There was a young man hitching a ride outside of Wilkes-Barre, and I asked him where he was going. He said he was going down to George Washington to law school. I said, get in, you have a ride.
And how much money did you have in your pocket at that point?
Not much.
And so you arrived in Washington, and where'd you stay?
We arrived in Washington. We bought a newspaper, and there was a room for rent on 3924 Fifth Street, which was 5th and Shepherd in Washington. And we went in to see this lady there. Her name was Mrs. O'Hara. And she showed us the room with a bathroom and with kitchen privileges, and it was $10 a week, and we said we would take it. And we told her that we couldn't pay her. My wife and I were going downtown for a job the next day. As soon as we got to work, we would pay her.
And what'd she say?
She said, that's great. Not only that, there was a grocery store owned by a guy by the name of Izzy Love across the street. Yeah. She called the grocery store. She called Izzy, and she said, Izzy, I'm sending these 2 young kids over there. Give them $30 worth of groceries, and I'll guarantee it. And we did. We went over there. We eventually became very close with Izzy and Rose Love. We went over there, and we picked up some groceries. And the next day, my wife and I both had a job. She went to work at Prudential Insurance, and I went to work at Colonial Wallpaper Paint Company.
And so from there,
From
penniless in Washington, how do you get to the Eagles? I'll say it's not the Redskins, but the Eagles still.
Well, I borrowed $5,000 from a very friendly banker, bought a piece of ground, and in the book it'll tell you the trials and tribulations of getting that job started. But eventually the job was started. I sold it, made a $40,000 profit.
Not bad for a kid from Wilkes-Barre.
I brought my mother and father down to Washington, and it just started to grow, and I started to do a lot of building. And eventually I built enough buildings and made enough money that when I heard that the Eagles were for sale, I became one of the bidders.
Right. And how much did you pay for the Eagles?
Paid $5,505,000.
How much do you think that team's worth today?
$1.2 billion.
Is that all?
Yeah.
$1.2 billion. Imagine if they actually were a good team.
Well, they're a pretty good team.
Oh, police. So from obviously you started there in Washington with nothing, and how long did it take you to get to buy the Eagles?
I bought the Eagles in '63, and I got down to Washington in about 1952.
So in 11 years, you went from penniless to owner of the Eagles, and then soon after that, you owned the Flyers and built the Philadelphia Spectrum, which is the place where the Flyers played.
Flyers and the
76ers. And from there, unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you look at the story, your business luck took a different turn, and something happened. But from this thing happening, you became the richest man in the world. And so we're going to talk about that in just a moment. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Gershon Jerry Wolman, the world's richest man, in just a few moments. First, Jerry, what's your favorite Jewish music?
I like all Jewish music.
All Jewish music. Okay, we're going to put a song out there that talks about Jerry's life, and we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is Rabbi Shmuel Herzfeld from Shmoozin' with Shmuel Herzfeld from